Okay, girls, get ready to judge. I asked a robot to do my nails, and it's gonna paint my nails in red. So I'm asking you, is it doing a good job or is it a no? It will only color my nails, it's not gonna work on my cuticle. We will discuss this separately. So 10 nails, 10 minutes, $10. By the way, for everyone who's watching from outside the US, manicure here costs from $40 to $60, and I'm not happy with the quality at all. I normally go and do Russian manicure. It's like the top quality. They work with a cuticle, but it costs around $100 and it takes an hour and a half. And I definitely don't have much time for it. And this is a fully automated experience. There won't be anyone helping me, and this is super exciting. Here's a video with instructions before I start. They tell me to relax and not shake my hands. Putting my hand into the robot and trying to relax as much as I can. And while I'm fighting the excitement, let me introduce you to the lovely girl next to me. Her name is Renuka, and she's one of the creators of ClockWork, this robot that does your manicure. Originally from India, she has dreamed of building robots since childhood, so much that she became a robot engineer and moved to Silicon Valley in 2009. Here, she built AI infrastructures, but finally wanted to create her own robot, and here it is.
I felt like I want a beauty service so often, but I don't have the time to go out, like get a babysitter, find parking. It's just such a whole production if you have to go to a salon. So this felt like that in between where you could use technology to make services a lot more accessible.
Okay, so when you went through this thought process, okay, you want to build something in beauty. Why nails?
That's a great question. So when we realized that we wanted to build real-world robots, we started looking at a bunch of spaces, and beauty stood out, like I said, because of my pain point. Among the beauty services, painting nails is the hardest, I would say, because nail polish is a non-Newtonian fluid. Like, we take it for granted, but the fluid viscosity actually changes based on how hard you push. That's what creates streaks, right? Like, it has surface tension, so it doesn't always go where you want it to go. It has solvents that evaporate, so you have to work really fast. So if you think about it, actually, nail polish is really, really hard compared to, say, if we were doing laser facials, right? And the tech that we've built can actually support a bunch of different services. But imagine telling somebody before they know about our brand, I'm going to point a laser at your face. They're going to be like, no, thank you. All right.
The manicure market is estimated at $8 billion worldwide, and there is also a lot of latent demand. For example, 80% of women want to have their nails done, but only 30% actually go to a salon on a regular basis. I'm one of those women who really want to get their nails done, but just never have time. Honestly, I'm fascinated by how quickly the robot and artificial intelligence industries are growing. I'm sure that just in a few years, robots won't just paint our nails. They'll be capable of performing complex, hands-on tasks. It's similar to how just a few years ago, we couldn't imagine AI taking over technical tasks, and now I can't imagine my life without AI tools. Take websites, for example. I remember when I first started my company, it took us months to manually build our website. Now it can be done in just 30 seconds with Durable, who are sponsoring today's video. Durable is the leading AI website builder and business platform designed specifically for entrepreneurs and small business owners. It's the perfect solution if you're looking to create a professional website and make every aspect of running your business 10x more efficient. Whether you're starting a new business, monetizing your skills, or building an online portfolio, all you need to do is answer a few simple questions, and in 30 seconds, AI does all the work of building your site. No coding or technical skills required. You can get started with Durable AI for just $12 a month, which includes a free custom domain, access to 10 million stock images, unlimited CRM contacts, and unlimited monthly blog posts. I'll leave a link to Durable in the description below. Don't put your entrepreneurial dreams on hold.
So there's this big gap in the market. And from the point of view of a nail technician, it doesn't make sense for them to offer a quick and cheap service because they'll fragment their day and they can't make the economics work, right? And so this was like a perfect place where it's like the fast food for beauty, where by using technology, you can create that in-between that has a lot of demand.
Well, what about the cuticles? Because when I go to a salon, I just go for cuticles, like, because Painting, okay, yeah, I could do it. Maybe not as perfect, but like the way they work with it. Are you planning to expand there, or what do you think about this?
Yeah, so we actually have demonstrated doing light cuticle work, but light cuticle work, shaping, we've demonstrated all of these parts. We actually haven't released them yet. So taking a step back, right? For us, we have been, as engineers, right, like validating every piece of the risk.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that we had to ensure was, is the robot painting at high quality? Are people going to be scared of it, right? Like we had all of these questions of like, what happens when you place it out in the real world?
Yeah.
How do we attract people, right? How do they understand the messaging? And so for us, it was really important to launch a minimum viable product. And that for us was polish changes. And we literally call this version of the robot Frankie, short for Frankenstein, because we didn't pay attention to the industrial design. It is really just the absolute minimum. And so once we get into the full manicure experience, we really want to actually also pay attention to the industrial design and sort of launch all of that together.
Yeah, step by step.
Exactly.
Perfect startup approach.
And, you know, building credibility in the brand is so important because this, as far as I know, may be one of the first robots in the world that literally touches an untrained human being, right? People can come off the streets and put their hands in this thing. And so to build that credibility, suddenly when people think cuticles, they're like, are you going to use a sharp tool?
Yeah, what do you use for cuticles?
We're not going to talk about that piece because it is patent pending and we do want to launch it sort of.
But it's actually doing the work, right?
It doesn't cut. It does something else. I can't talk too much about,
about
great. The tech.
Fingers crossed, because this would solve my problem. Because now I just can't, like, for me, going to manicures is at least 2 hours of my time, because the one that I prefer that works with cuticles, the Russian style, takes at least 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
Driving there, driving back, like 2 hours of my time without kids. That's how much I get during the day. Like exactly, I can't.
Right?
Yeah.
And that cognitive load, people just take for granted. Like women just appear looking perfect, right? And like nobody really thinks about what went into that. So if you're making it easier and more accessible to do these services, you're in some sense leveling the playing field. And that is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, let me quickly explain you what a Russian manicure is. And I think it's the top quality manicure in the world. It is basically when your manicurist works in your cuticle and your nails, and the quality of it is top notch. Okay, we're getting first results. What do we think? Please comment down below.
How's it going so far?
It's going well. Yeah, I like that. You know, it's so precise here. I think I missed a little bit here. Like
of the
tiny,
edge.
Yeah.
You could just take one of these and then dip them into your... And then another option that you can try, sometimes that missing edge comes because you are tense in the beginning and then relax. And so your finger moves and that's when you get that little bit of edge.
I'll try to.
So just like breathe out and...
Meditation music.
Yeah.
Ready.
And then you can also just do a redo for that nail. Like you can take the polish off and then try again.
I think it's like half a millimeter.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think also because yesterday I got my nails and they were too short.
Yeah.
I feel like it's... Yeah. Ready.
Yeah, normally in our instructions, we have this thing that like show a little bit of the white part of the nail for best results.
I cut it just because I don't have time.
Yeah,
so I cut it as short as possible. So I do it like once in 2 weeks. I feel like this is perfect. Can we talk about the business side of things? So how long did it take you to develop the robot?
It's taken a while. So the first sort of prototypey version we got to very quickly. And that's largely because of the software platform we've built. So we started early 2019. And within about 8-ish months, it's been a while.
Because I did my first robot manicure at 2020 at Target? 2021.
Yeah, 21. That's
21 or 22. I remember my youngest was really young.
Yeah. So that was part of the approach, right? We think that real-world robots have been approached a little incorrectly. People think of them as hardware and consumer hardware needs a lot of capex and a lot of the iteration is very expensive. And we instead took commodity hardware and pushed intelligence into software.
Yeah.
And that's why we've been able to iterate really quickly. Last year in February was the first fully autonomous version of the robot.
Oh, because at Target there was a person.
There was a
person.
Wasn't
they were just watching the robot, no?
They were just watching, but they were also giving you the cartridge and helping you with instructions. Yeah. So the robot was doing all of the painting parts. The person was mainly there to for the rest of the experience. And that Target data gave us a lot of insight into how do we need to arrange the tutorial? How do we need to arrange the signage?
Yeah.
And so that was actually very, very insightful.
Interesting. So what would you say was the hardest? The software, the robot, or the whole experience?
The software and AI is where the magic is for sure. But I would say that this is a tough category to build. So you have to pay attention when you're doing a robot in the real world as to how do people learn about it, right? What are you doing with inventory? How are you doing operations? So there's all of these pieces that productionizing, right? What happens? How do you do servicing?
Yeah.
And then how do you do all of that economically so that you make really high margins, right? And so I think that a lot of people think of this as maybe it's the hardware that's interesting, and it's really not. Some people are oh, maybe it's the AI that's really interesting, and it is. That's where we spend a lot of our time. But that's not the end of the story.
How much does it cost to put, to produce one robot and put it somewhere?
We don't talk about pricing because that is a bit of a competitive advantage for us and, important when we do sales. But what I will say is that we are a B2B company. So we sell to brick and mortar players. So that could be a corporate real estate owner. So for example, this building is owned by Tishman Speyer, the same people who own Rockefeller Center. We started there and we just did their 6th building in Boston.
Wow.
And for them, it's really a back to office amenity.
This robot is super convenient for women who work in offices because it only takes 10 minutes to do the manicure and they don't have to go anywhere. You go downstairs, you do your manicure, and you head to a dinner with a colleague. It's something that gives you this instant makeover and makes you feel more beautiful. And I feel in my case, my nail color really affects my mood.
So one machine can basically be on 24 hours. In some locations like airports, we're on for 14 hours at this point. It's really depending on the timings of the store. And per hour, it can do 3 to 4, depending on how fast the people are. We had a super successful pilot at Target back when you used it, back when we were still developing the robot, really. And we showed how we increase dwell time, how we attract people in, how they then go on to shop the store. And then, so we thought of that. We thought of can we make it just a franchise, right? Where a lot of people were oh, it's a robot cafe, right? And you basically franchise that model. And I think maybe that's the future. But right now we found this very interesting mutual need with brick and mortar owners where they want people back in their spaces. They already have the space. They already have people sort of coming in there, and now they want to elevate that space. And so it's just mutually beneficial.
ClockWork believes that the robot will improve with each new version, just like the iPhone. Right now, it only does plain nail polish, but eventually it could start doing nail art. By the way, I'm done with the nails on my other hand. I'm not fixing anything on this hand. So because my nails are too short, you see some tiny bumps here, but this is such an easy fix. And if I were painting the nails myself, I would do worse. So I'm gonna fix these now, but you can see how perfect it is. The most difficult part for me is this part, the cuticle and nail part, but it just did it perfectly. Okay, so, and they have all the tools here. So I'm gonna I can totally relate to a situation where I really want to have my nails done, but I don't have time at all, or my favorite person who's doing my nails is fully booked for the next 2 weeks and I only have time now. So in this case, a robot could be a cool option, and it's just $10. Renuka does not believe that the robot can take away manicurists' jobs. What I think is that in 10 years, if it learns to do the cuticle, if everything is perfect, then maybe, there is a chance. I don't know. I want to listen to your opinions in the comments below.
I'm not sure that that's really true. Like, I think it's complementary. And the reason is because nail techs are doing things like acrylics and pedicures, right? Like, there's always going to be a market for those services.
But I think it's still shrinking. Like, there are some people who would just go and do their
For sure, but those people are not currently going and taking 2 hours out of their day to go to a nail salon, right? Like, that's just not who we're serving. And if you look at even a nail tech's day, right? Like, even if they're working a full 8-hour day, that's maybe 6 to 8 services. We are at like 9 airports, I believe, at this point. Some are like Vegas, DC airport, Miami, Charlotte.
How hard was it? Because I know it's the hardest. I have some friends who are doing airports, and they say it's
so we don't actually deal with the airports ourselves. We have partnerships with, again, brick and mortar players. So retailers, or so Paradis Lagardère is North America's leading airport retailer. They have 850 stores in the US, and then their parent company Lagardère has 5,000 stores worldwide. And so for them, it really is the same retail, like attract people, increase dwell time, people go and shop. And so we go partner with them. They started with a 5 robot contract with us. Before we could even give them 5, they've tripled it. We're also with Xwell. They own Express Spas.
Oh, yeah, I know. The massages. Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So we're in a bunch of Express
and they're
Spa
worldwide.
locations.
I've seen them in Germany, I think. Yeah.
They are worldwide, I think Amsterdam and UAE and Turkey. So and people go looking for us in airports as well.
Awesome. So the goal is basically to expand using your current partners to just expand worldwide.
Absolutely. And we want to launch the next things that are coming. Gel, the full manicure experience.
When? Do you have an estimate?
We're not talking about the estimates right now.
Okay.
But yeah, that is something that we've already demonstrated works with this hardware. And so really it's a matter of finding the right time to launch them. And we are a small company, so we have to balance the expansions with the features.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, how many machines can you produce in a year?
So right now we've gotten to the point of like 4 to 5 per month. And we use a contract manufacturer in the Bay Area.
Oh, so that you produce them in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
nice.
So we are building them. Like the final version happens in our office in SF. And then we obviously want to grow up from there into producing more per month. And because, again, the magic is in the software, it's easy to just like allow a contract manufacturer to build up the hardware parts. Most of them are commodity hardware parts. And so we can move pretty quickly.
That's awesome. So you're basically, everything that you're producing is already pre-sold to your partners?
The parts are commodity. So obviously like the skin of the robot is custom, and like some parts of it are custom, but like the core components are actually off the shelf.
No, I mean like the contracts that you have, you're producing for those contracts. So you're not looking for new partners basically right now.
We get new partner requests all the time.
Nice.
But that's
great.
Yeah, we get like hundreds to thousands of requests depending on the month of people reaching out to us and saying, hey, can I lease one of your robots? And there's such interesting dynamics. Some people want to franchise it. Some people want to earn passive income. So there's a lot of like optionality for us with partnerships.
Nice. Can you share how much you've raised?
We've raised 10.5 million to date.
And who have been your most helpful investors?
So our lead investor is Initialized Capital, famously Gary Tan, who now runs YC and ran it in the past. They have been phenomenal. We also have Pipeline Venture Partners and MVP, Modern Venture Partners, and they've been really, really great as well. Typically, these tend to be firms who understand how hard the robotics piece is, and then also will understand sort of like the consumer aspect of it. Because even though we are a B2B company, ultimately like the experience does matter. And we can, by saying things like we attract people into your space, we can make our contracts more lucrative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're also a mom.
I am. Yeah.
How many hours do you work in a day?
I try to keep things sane. It is a lot. I won't try to make this sound easy, but especially recently with the number of new customers we've had, it is many hours. But I do sort of. I also had a working mom, and she used to travel a lot internationally. And one of the things that really stuck with me is, even if you're spending lesser time, make it quality time. And so during that time, I like don't also try to do chores. And so, I've been very privileged that I have help and an extremely supportive husband. And that goes a long way.
Do you work on weekends or weekends?
But we try very hard. So I have kids, and our first mechanical engineer, so our first engineer also has 2 kids. And, you know, people do have other responsibilities, either they're married or have pets or whatever, right? So as a company, we try very hard to, you know, keep sane hours and don't really work as much on weekends or, you know, after like crazy late hours. Oh yeah, no. We absolutely encourage taking time off.
You basically had a baby after you started your company, right?
Yeah.
When everything was happening. That's so inspiring to see, because when I talk to entrepreneurs on this channel also, there's so many 20+ young guys, no family, like they have all the time in the world to build a company. And you're like, oh yeah, maybe it's not for me. But then I see people like you, and that's super inspiring for.
I think that, you know, becoming a mom makes you very efficient and makes you like prioritize brutally. And that ultimately helps because you know how it is, like work fills up however much time you can give it.
Yeah.
So if
have
you
to put a
just
hard
decide
stop.
like this is how much time I'm going to give. And I'm going to do the most important things, and I'm going to think and plan what that means, right? And where the highest impact things are. I think you just create those structures.
How large is the team now?
We're about 15 people full time, so not very large, and about 3 or 4 contractors who are very soon probably going to just become full time because they're doing quite long hours, I would say.
This is just perfect, and it's only going to get better from this stage. It's going to work on cuticle. It's going to get even better with painting technique, but it's already top quality, right? I'm fascinated. Wow. How long did it take us? Like 20 minutes? Yeah. And we were also talking, and I was exploring the robot. The next time I do it, it's going to take maybe 12 minutes or 13 minutes. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much. Wow. You're making lives of women so much more exciting. And this is, you know, it just adds this thing. Because normally I wouldn't do manicures that often, but if this was in my office, like, why not? Before going out, I just quickly remove my nail polish.
It should be as easy as grabbing a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah,
so you grab your coffee, you come.
That was it from us for today, guys. If you're in San Francisco, here in the Bay Area, or if you're in one of the locations where, you know, you have your machines, then come over, try it out. This is a super cool experience. This is very 2024. I feel like we're in the future already. A driverless car just passed by. I did my nails with a robot. Awesome. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends who are interested in new technology. See you soon.